Welcome to Back to Basics Bootcamp Tumbler Edition, where myself and two other amazing artists will be sharing weekly videos with all the best tips, tricks, and Tumbler making secrets. Let's get to it. Well, welcome to week 9. Our theme this week is all about that dip, and I'm going to be showing you how to dip your vinyl using Marabu Easy Marble paints. First thing we're going to do is get our tumbler ready for glitter. So I'm going to be using Lavender Ice from the Glitter Guy, and I'm going to be using this Krylon spray adhesive. It's like 7010, I think is the number on the can I showed you guys. This is the spray adhesive that I prefer to use. I'm not going to show you spraying the adhesive on. I have a video from the very first week of boot camp I will put in the description box if you want to learn more about that. So my tumbler this week is a 20-ounce slim from Steel Magnolia. This one came already prepped. If it wasn't, I would have sanded and painted my tumbler as normal to bring me to this step. So inside my tumbler, I have my tumbler grip, which this thing is the bomb for glittering your tumblers and epoxying them. I love these things so much. My cup is always nice and secure. So I'm going to get my glitter on here, and then I'm going to give this about a half an hour to dry. I will spray seal it, and I'm going to put on a coat of epoxy, and once that's cured, we'll be ready to move on to vinyl. But before we can do that, we got to dip. As I said, these are the Marabu Easy Marble paints. I get mine from the Glitter Guy. I'm going to be using metallic yellow, antique pink, and lavender, and the vinyl I'm going to dip is just Oracal 651 matte white vinyl. I do prefer dipping a matte vinyl over a glossy. I just think that it kind of grips the color better. If I do use a glossy vinyl, I just scuff it up a little bit with a sanding block before dipping it. So adding in my colors, it's the same as I would do for a tumbler. I'm just kind of blopping them in there. I prefer to take a Scotty peeler and kind of like swirl my colors around. That's totally a personal preference. If you like to do that or not, your craft room, your rules. And then I like to take it and kind of scrape it against the sides of my bucket so that it creates a good film. I will kind of roll my vinyl, as you saw there, into like a U shape, dip it. I'll give it about a half an hour to dry, and then I will cut it on my Cricut. For cutting the vinyl that I've dipped, I just use the same premium vinyl setting on my Cricut that I use for all my other vinyl, and it cuts just fine. So for the decals on this tumbler today, I want to keep it simple. I'm going to be sending this to my niece, who will be 12 in just about a week. So I wanted to do these cute little flowers. I just found a few that I liked in Cricut Design Space. She is like a little ray of sunshine, so I wanted to give her something bright and happy. And so the really cool thing with dipping vinyl is you can use transfer tape, and it doesn't peel your paints off your vinyl, which is awesome. It's super handy, so you don't have to worry about being aware of like cutting out large images that you can just peel up and transfer by hand. Transfer tape will not rip the colors off. And so now I'm just going to pick up these little flowers, and I'm going to scatter them around my cup. I have 3 different flowers. I sized them. I think I did like 1¼ inches. I did like 1.4 and 1.5 inches. I just varied the sizes a little bit, but you can do whatever you want. Just find a shape that you like and go for it. So I'm just going to kind of scatter these. If you're like me, you tend to completely overthink the randomness of this placement, and it gets frustrating. So try not to do that. Just throw them on there where they look good. So I'm going to continue putting these little flowers on. Now, once I put these flowers on, these Marabu Easy Marble paints are oil-based, so you do need to seal them before you epoxy, or your epoxy will repel and you'll get a bunch of like funky little fish eyes. Sealing your paints, there are a few different options. You can use Mod Podge. That is my least favorite way to do it because you need a few coats. I know you can also use Quick Coat from CC DIY or polyacrylic. I prefer polyacrylic because it works really well, it's cheap, and it's readily available. So what I'm going to do is individually coat each flower. I'm just going to dip my fingers in here and just, rub a little bit on each flower. And then after I've gotten each flower, I'm going to coat my fingers and just go over the whole tumbler and all my flowers again, just to make sure that I've gotten every little spot and that my epoxy will not repel. I'm going to go ahead and give that about 45 minutes to an hour to dry, and I'll be ready to move on to epoxy. So I went ahead and put a little ultra white mica powder in my epoxy and applied it, but I needed something else, so I grabbed Olaf. This is one of my favorite chunky glitters, and we're going to do just a really light chunky sprinkle. So you can see here, I just literally dip dip a couple of fingers into this chunky glitter to get like a few little flecks on my fingers, and I am literally just going to rub my fingers together and gently sprinkle that around my cup. I am kind of trying to avoid the flowers. I don't mind a piece here or there on my flowers, but I really want to make sure that I am focusing this sprinkle all around them and not directly on top of them. Once I'm happy with this, I'll let it spin. I will do a coat of my Rust-Oleum 2x clear gloss. After this coat of epoxy is cured, I will give it one more coat of epoxy and my tumbler is finished. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this episode of Bootcamp helpful. If you want to know how to hydro dip a tumbler using spray paint, check out LLB Creations channel. She posted a video. If you want to know how to dip a tumbler using these Marabu Easy Marble paints, check out Palebird Designs video to learn all about that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep up with all the bootcamp videos, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, happy crafting.